Rosie, Fillo pastry rolls are one of my favourite things in the entire world. Something I make quite often. And it depends on the filling and it's so easy to do. But what I'm going to do is one of my favourite things is it's like a Thai Fillo pastry roll. Because what we're going to do is make a mousse or mousseline, whatever you want to call it. It's the paste that goes through the middle of it. And what I've got is some rooster fish, which is also known as chicken breast. Now, can you throw those prawns in there as well? And I'm going to drizzle some soy sauce, just a little bit of soy sauce in there, a couple of drops to give it some flavour. I'll hand that to you, Rosie. There we go. I'm also going to put a bit of cream in there, and that helps to make it a bit more luscious. You can whiz it around at the start and then put all the ingredients into it, but we're just going to hit it in the Magic Mix. I'll hand that to you, Rosie. And I'm also going to crack one egg in there, if you can grab that one. Crack one egg, and they say when you crack an egg, if you hit it on the base or something flat and then open it up, which you're going to do, you won't get any shell in there. There we go. Now we're going to heat it up a little bit. I've got some chilli, chopped up chilli, and I've taken the seed out of it. I've got some ginger there. I want you to microplane the ginger. Whilst you're doing that, I'm going to put a nice amount of salt in there. And once you've done the ginger, Rosie, what I'm going to get you to do is turn that peppermill over the top of it and get some lovely black pepper. You could use white pepper if you want, but I really like the flavour of black pepper. You'd have to agree, it's the best pepper, isn't it?
It's delicious.
Now, I will say the coriander is one of those things that a lot of people don't like. So if you don't like coriander, bad luck, because you're getting it in this one. But you could use dill, you could use Vietnamese mint, you could use Thai basil, whatever you want you can put in there. Now I'm just going to scrape that up, pop it into there. Now everything's in there. Rosie, I'm going to get you to pop the lid on. What we're going to do is whiz that around until it becomes a nice fine mousse. And a little tip you could do is keep some of the prawns out of there, chop them through and fold them through at the last minute, but we're not going to do that. We're going to turn that on, whiz it around, clean this up, and then we'll roll our Fillo pastry rolls. Okay, Rosie, you've got to be prepared when you're doing this. You've got to have everything organised. I've got my butter melted and my pastry brush in there. I've got my my mousse in here. And one of the things you have to do when you are using one of these piping bags is have a pair of scissors to cut the end off. There's something, if you don't cut the end off...
I thought you were going to pretend it was a unicorn head or something like that.
I like that idea. You could play with that one. If you cut the end off, then you know it's going to come out.
Lovely.
But try and keep it quite small because we want to keep it nice and small on the inside. Now, Fillo pastry, one of my favourite things. I'm using a thicker Fillo pastry. I just think it holds together really, really well for this type of dish.
Definitely.
And what you do with the Fillo pastry is take it out of the fridge. You know, half an hour before you're going to use it, let it come up to temperature on the bench, and what you find is it's a hell of a lot easier to use. You can roll it out really, really easily, and what I'll do is I'll just pull that apart there like that. What we're going to do is, because we're making canapes, I'm going to cut it down so it's a little bit smaller, so we're not rolling as much. Now, I'm not going to cover this with a cloth, but if you're somewhere where you've got dry, hot wind, it will dry out really quickly. So you might get a tea towel or a chucks or something, just rinse it under some cold water, give it a good squeeze, and then you put it over the top and it stops it from drying out. Exactly. Now, you need butter, but if you don't want any butter, you can always use extra virgin olive oil. What I do is make sure I put plenty of butter on the outside like that, and then, Rosie, I just give it a little bit of a squeeze like that, like a little sausage there like that.
Satisfying, isn't it?
It is, it is. And then I roll this side over here, and this side over here, making sure that you get nice folds in it, and then a little bit of butter down the end of it here like this, and then I just roll it around and around. Now, I like to have a lot of pastry on it, but if you want, you could actually just cut that pastry off there like that, and then roll it along. Now, I pop it onto the tray here like this, and you can see it's a great little size. Get a little bit more butter, brush it along like that, and if you want to make it really, really fancy, you get some sesame seeds on the top of it, and maybe even some poppy seeds to give it a good little look. Now, all we have to do is roll some of these, put them into an oven at 200 degrees Celsius. You'll know they're cooked because they'll be nice and crisp on the outside, and they'll be ready to eat.
These are great. I mean, you can actually make these sweet as well, couldn't you? You could put some kind of chocky in there, or
Put dates and chocolate
all
in
sorts
there,
of different things,
pistachio
can
nuts,
you?
You can do lots of things.
It could be very
There we go.
versatile,
I'm going
this.
to put a couple on top there. Now, you can make them as big or small as you want. I like them with a couple of bites, but you can make them just with one bite if you want.
Yeah.
Now, I put them on a little platter there. I put a little bit of garnish on the side there. I've got a little bit of Thai basil to keep into that the Thai sort of flavour.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to hook into that one. I'm going to hook into this
Have
one
a
here,
little
actually.
try.
And break
Now,
it in half.
It looks absolutely gorgeous. I could obviously do a vegetarian version as well as a sweet, but...
You could, but you can see that mousse is cooked all the way through.
Yeah.
And you can see the Fillo pastry is nice and flaky. It puffed up a little bit. It's really crisp, and I can feel with my fingers it's sort of breaking apart, and that's what I like.
Yeah.
That nice crispness. I'm just taking a deep breath. Breathe out. It's really nice,
Is
Rosie.
it?
It's got a bit of heat to it. That beautiful prawn and chicken flavour, they go really well together. They bind it all together. And that crispy pastry with that butter on the outside. Delicious.
Well, look, it's very impressive, but I've got a classic showstopper about to happen.